Do you find it ironic that we're here tonight, apparently on the eve of a shutdown over Obamacare subsidies? Republicans have made the point that this is a policy matter for December, not a funding issue in September. Yet there are a lot of Republicans who think this needs to be done by the end of the year. How do you look at this right now? Is it a reason to bring us here tonight?
Well, I woke up this morning and I felt like I had a woman in labor. She's stuck at 7 centimeters, and I don't know if she delivered tonight or tomorrow, but I wish I had some Pitocin to give Congress and to get this baby out and to finish the job.
Yeah.
Look, these are extra subsidies. These are not the original Obamacare subsidies. These are extra subsidies from Joe Biden. COVID era subsidies. And we need to debate them. Of course, they cost a lot more than we thought they would, probably $35 billion a year. On the other hand, the cost of insurance is what quadrupled this century. So I totally get the concern there. But I think really keeping the government open tonight is our main job today. Keep the government open, reasonable spending as well. I feel like Chuck Schumer is fighting for his political life. And his base has not realized that they lost the election. If I could, go back to 2020, the Democrats win the House, the Senate, and the White House. They come in, they spend trillions of dollars more than we wanted. And as we went through the next couple of years, I think over a dozen times Republicans voted for a continuing resolution, just like we're doing tonight. And we never once asked them to rescind that package of spending. We would have liked to them do, but we didn't shut the government down over it. Now we feel like he's shutting the government down over our one big beautiful bill and these COVID-era expenditures as well.
Well, if there is an effort, and I understand Senator Tuberville, for instance, is part of an effort to draw up some legislation that would at least provide a framework to extend these ACA subsidies. Shouldn't leadership just tell Democrats that, hey, we promise we're going to get to this. Why don't we clean the CR up and we'll go handle this together by the end of the year?
Yeah, and
is that messaging being made?
I assume that some of that is happening. Yeah. I would have thought that Chuck Schumer would have came to the White House this weekend, rather than, starting about a week ago, all of a sudden he's being very dishonest and saying we're not negotiating. Susan Collins and the appropriations team has negotiated until they're blue in the face, and they even had an agreement on what to do with this continuing resolution. So I would have thought Chuck Schumer would have came to the White House yesterday and said, hey, if we fix these COVID-era subsidies, then we got a deal. And you shake hands and we get on with it. And by the way, what we should be talking about is the cost of health care. We should be talking about my transparency bill, a price tags bill that's going to force hospitals to show exactly what it's going to cost. We should be talking about driving prescription drug prices down by reforming PBMs, some of those types of things. Those go after the real root of the problem, but instead we have this drama tonight that's basically going to take all the oxygen out of the room for the next foreseeable future.
Well, it feels like it, and there's a major lack of trust, I guess, if you can't, move forward on a handshake or a promise. Senator, how long should these COVID-era subsidies be in place? If it was up to you, would you sunset this after a year? Would there be an income limit that triggered the implementation? How do you handle it?
So I think it's all the above. There's different dials. The Obamacare subsidies were set for people under 400% of poverty level. Now we're going up to way over 400, 500, 600% poverty level. People making $200,000 a year, a family of four, getting these subsidies. I think we should dial them down over the next 2 to 3 years and give us a chance to fix health care, to drive down the price of health care, which is the true problem.
If we shut down, looks like we're gonna, and you can tell me if we're wrong on that, there's a thought that there's no off-ramp and that President Trump and Russ Vought have a playbook and they're ready to start acting on it, that there will be no motivation to reopen the government. We might set another record. Is that your fear?
Oh, I think that after 3 or 5 days of this, people will come to their senses.
Find religion on this?
And after they see what the president is doing and he executes some of those, then I think the Democrats find religion again. I think this is a political question for Chuck Schumer, that his base, his far left base, crucified him when he kept the government open in the spring, and he's afraid to do that again. He's afraid that AOC is going to primary him. All those things going on. So to him, it's a political decision. And you and I are talking logic right now.
We try to. The president said earlier today a lot of good could come from a shutdown, and that they are in fact going to start laying people off. What does that look like by the time they're done? Do you take them at their word? Is that posturing?
I think that the president is a world champion negotiator, and he's negotiating through the press in many ways. I think you always try to make the best of a bad situation. You try to take lemons and turn it into lemonade. I think that's what he's saying, but I think he's negotiating.
Okay, very well. how about an off-ramp? If we do end up shutting down, you think in 3 to 5 days you've got Chuck Schumer and John Thune coming together? How does it end in terms of a negotiation? Is it a clean CR in the end?
I think so, and your guess is as good as mine. I don't think Chuck Schumer knows, but we do know the ball is in his court.
Yeah.
That all he has to agree is this simple extension, 24 pages, I think it is, for about 4 or 5 weeks as well, and then we can keep negotiating on all those other things. Those COVID subsidies we're talking about, those extra subsidies, won't expire till the end of the year. So let's talk about those. I think in the meantime we can get moving on that we can surely walk and chew gum at the same time.
Yeah. Interesting. I have to ask you, since you're here, and you're probably the only physician I'm going to talk to this evening, the president's announcement today on drug prices with the CEO of Pfizer.
Yeah.
Pretty remarkable moment. I don't know how you get drug prices or any price down 1,000%, as he said. But I'm curious what this means for the big pharma companies. You lower prices across the board. You hike R&D investment. How do you make money? And how do we keep research and development going under a scenario like that?
Yeah, and I've been having these private conversations with big pharma as well. I think they are sticking together, and they're trying to force these foreign countries to pay their share, so to speak.
Really?
80% of their business, though, is in the United States. 80% of their income is from selling these drugs in the United States. I think that by working with Secretary Bessent, USTR, Secretary Greer as well, Ambassador Greer, that we're going to find some sweet spot to this. I know it's not simple. I do think if you want me to save Medicare, though, I need a drug for Alzheimer's. And we can't kill the golden goose here. We need pharma to keep innovating. So we're going to have to figure it out. And I think there'll be some headwinds, and we'll have to change our way as we go into the wind.
Maybe a government stake in one of these big pharma companies like we've seen in other industries, or is that a bridge too far?
I'm not, as you can tell, I'm kind of stumbling on myself on that one. I would have to measure that one twice and cut once. Yeah, let's think about that one.